This is our friend KriztianKool. He's a streamer on Twitch, and he can introduce himself.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm the coolest guy on Twitch, KriztianKool, variety streamer. Play all sorts of RPGs, board gaming, and a lot of other stuff, retro, uh, popular IP franchise titles like Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, and I love pro wrestling. And yes, pretty much anything. Yeah.
How long have you been streaming?
How long have I been streaming? Since the beginning of last year, like literally the start of last year. So yeah, started 221 or 2021. Yeah.
Got you started
Hmm.
started streaming. Like, what was your reason?
The reason. I needed friends. No, I didn't need friends. No, I just I don't know. I always felt the need to like I don't know. I always felt gaming as something that helps bring people together. So it's just one of those things like when I do things like gaming or the like, I like to be able to show off or at least give everyone else an experience of what I've been experiencing. So I'm not the only one taking in the experience. Call me selfless. So sometimes I'll sit there and commentate to myself when I'm playing games. And I'm just like, why should I be the only one listening to my commentary? I should make all the other people out there in the world listen to the nonsense I have to say. So I felt the need to start streaming.
um, were you in Triple L friends before this?
No, actually, so a lot of the people you see come on my channel or here come on my channel are a lot of people I've met just through streaming. I do have I have a contingent group of friends that I do have IRL for gaming and the like, but while they do support me, they don't really do much on the digital end. I've met a lot of awesome people like Triple L, like Drunk Scooby, and quite a few other people who do partake in like the board gaming or like the Archerverse when it comes to the pro wrestling. Just a lot of collaboration, a lot of fun that we have, nonsense ensuing, and just it's been a good time. I've met a lot of good people I would actually consider to say, closer friends than I would have ever expected. So yeah, it's been a real treat doing this.
I mean, your stream has been getting a really good chill, a really good vibe to it, and I love hanging out there.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And
It's I've always wanted to promote like somewhere of a positive atmosphere, somewhere anyone could go to and just feel included. Doesn't matter who the hell they are, what they do. I'm not saying I want like serial rapists or anything coming in there feeling comfortable, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying people who feel like they didn't really fit in elsewhere, or they're just like they keep running into a-holes that treat them like dirt. Maybe come in here and I'm an a-hole myself. I'm a bit of an asshole. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna treat you like you're nothing. I'm gonna laugh along beside you and let you poke fun at me a bit too, because no one's perfect. So
Zell asks, is it love of board games or retro something that you started just through streaming or something you grew up with?
I mean, I've had board games growing up. What kid doesn't? But it was more during college. A roommate and I had a roommate that introduced me to the board game aspect with like the Settlers of Catan and stuff like. I started seeing all these like board games started to pop up back when we had the during the 360 PS3 era, 360 arcade, Xbox Live Arcade was introducing all these different like digital versions of board games that had never really had a digital implementation before. And Catan was one of them. Ticket to Ride was one of them. Carcassonne, and there was a few others. But I was enamored, and that also helped at that time during college propel me into more and more gaming. I also had a buddy, someone I kind of like mentored in college. through some mentoring classes that I partook in. He introduced me to Magic the Gathering. So I started doing a lot of Magic the Gathering around that time as well. So doing both, and I was actually trying to maybe put myself in a position where I could play more competitive Magic the Gathering down the road. It was and made a lot of friends doing that, and I did that for a long while. And the board games was still there, but eventually the board games kind of took over time. Just I think it's just the way of things meant to be. Magic is very, you can play it casually, but the people I played with were very competitive. I wanted something a little more low key and kind of diversify my taste, and board games offered that more. So
Uh,
yeah, been playing all that time.
what was the first board game that really drew you to them?
Like I said, I think the Settlers of Catan, because that was like I really enjoyed that. But I think Ticket to Ride really was something of a staple. I mean, just the ability. I love geography, and I love maps. So being able to see a board with whatever map it is, whether it's the U.S., Europe, whatever, and then I get to put cute little plastic trains to mark my routes and then try to outplay my opponents. It just I don't know. You put all the giddy feelings all in one little basket, and I just really loved it. So that kind of what drew me more and more into stuff like that, and then I explored more. Just there's been other benchmark games that have just like gravitated me. The biggest one probably right now is Gloomhaven, which I spent a lot of time playing digital versions of most Saturdays and throughout most of this year. Um, it is the number one ranked board game by if you look on Board Game Geek. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. I never seen so many different board games until I started watching your stream, and they're
Oh
really
my god.
cool too.
It's
Mm.
it's definitely a hobby that's grown over the last I would say the last 20 years it's been taken off more. It's really taken off more in the last several because of Kickstarter and other GameFound and other crowdfunding ventures where the smallest of companies can put out a good game now because of people backing them and making them financially successful to be able to get content out. So having the ability for game developers to not have to worry about investing on themselves before getting stuff out there. Now you got the people doing that for them, and then just growing the a community growing while there's stuff out there for people to explore. So it's awesome. It's been really a thing to admire over the last several years, and more stuff just keeps getting pumped out. It's awesome. Definitely a lot of depth in the genre. So yeah, if you start liking the board games, yeah, there's plenty to check out.
So, how did board games transverse into retro gaming?
So so here's the thing. There's really I wouldn't say there's a transversing. I do a lot of everything. So like I love old school games because in my mind, old school games are games that are for better or worse the final product and they offer a degree of skill to be able to play and a challenge. And I really do enjoy how most are developed. Whereas nowadays, a lot of games come unfinished, needing DLC or needing updates, patches, whatever you need in order to get the game working. And I'm not a big fan of that. And most games, most of the days, are not all that terribly difficult to play. They're more to just relax and be able to just play as you will. And while some games do offer difficulty levels, most games are just here. This is the thing, and experience it, and you're done. But I've always had a love for retro games. Just growing up with them because I grew up playing video games a lot. Like I said, there was board games around, but I never really grew up playing a lot of board games. I had one sibling, And honestly, most of the time, I thought my family annoyed me. So I wanted to get away a bit and always play video games. I grew up playing Nintendo, Sega, a lot of Sega, a lot of PlayStation. Um, so there was a lot of games just over time that I also played, but I also missed. So there's a lot of Nintendo games that I've missed over the years too, because I never got to own Nintendos from the original NES back when I was like wee little. So yeah, it just that retro games just to me, I mean, there's still games that hold up. You know, some people just sham them for the fact that they don't look that good, and to me, graphics never really mattered. It's just mechanics. I just as long as the game looks semi-playable and it's fun, I'm down. So
I agree with that. I mean, I'd rather have an ugly game that's long, a good story, and pretty simple button mapping and whatnot, compared to a game that's literally beautiful, but I could beat it in a week.
hmm
So I agree with you. Val asks, um, what would be your dream board game? Yeah, you could create
if I could create one, all right. Well, since they're not gonna ever remake one for this franchise digitally, I almost would rather make a board game out of it. I would almost want to make a board because they're starting. The industry starting to see more and more upticks and trends on IP games with an IP becoming actually good. Because usually you see game board games with an IP and you're just kind of like, yeah, it's a game about this movie, but is it really that good? And usually the stigma was they're not. And you've seen that in video games too, movies about video or about movies and shows, and they're usually terrible. But they've been getting better over time in the board gaming industry. So if I was to create a board game out of the blue and have it like play tested and put it out there and have the means to do that and take the energy to make it happen, I would probably say a Twisted Metal board game.
already dope.
Yeah. So yeah, based on the Twisted Metal series. So yeah, I would do a Twisted Metal board game. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I love Twisted Metal. It's always one of my favorite games growing up.
Yeah, I
It was,
played the crap out of Twisted Metal growing up,
uh,
and given how multiplayer connectivity and just the way things are nowadays, you would think whoever owns the property rights to a Twisted Metal game would put a Twisted Metal game out there, even half-ass as most games are nowadays,
yeah,
just to make a few bucks, and then they can improve it and make it better over time. People would play it.
yeah,
Like I just don't see why they don't.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it had Twisted Metal Black, which
Yep.
was
Twisted Metal Black.
horrible, but they
Yeah.
could have improved on it, as it progressed. I think it would have made money.
Oh yeah,
It's a
I mean,
great
there's
series.
so many other battle royale-ish
Yeah,
type games out there. Twisted Metal almost defined that concept
yes.
a little bit. Like, why are we not doing that? So,
So, who's your all-time favorite Twisted Metal character?
that would oh man, there's so many, but I think it would be the Spectre. I've always enjoyed the Spectre,
Oh, me too.
the ghost homing missile, and I
Yeah,
could just run away from any fight.
I love the story. The
Oh, the
story was so
story.
good. It's
Well,
so good.
yeah, it depends because like I've been doing this. I think we're Twisted Metal 4 is next in my lineup, but we've been doing every now and again a Twisted Thursday segment, going through the entirety of the Twisted Metal library for better or worse. And yeah, some of those stories get really, really weird and not all that. I don't know. They're already nonsensical, but they're even over the top from the
Yeah.
989 Studios, Twisted Metal 3 and 4. They're like bizarre.
Yes. So since you're into retro gaming, what retro game have you discovered that you really into?
Um, discovering and being really into. So I guess if you want to exaggerate your definition of really into, like something I would possibly speed run, something I would like spend more time replaying. Kind of where you going with that?
Oh, you just enjoy it. Something you just
Oh,
really
just
enjoy.
really enjoying it. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I guess I would say just I never really played the Ninja Gaidens growing up, and playing Ninja Gaiden, was it 3 or did I play the first one? I can't remember which one I played. Someone redeemed it, but I really thought it was a very enjoyable game. I would have probably never thought to start playing it, but Ninja Gaiden was definitely fun. But yeah, like even what was it? I had a stream last night. Silver Surfer. I played Silver Surfer for the NES, and that game is difficult as shit. But it's also a game that it's not a bad game. It's just a game that demands hardcore skill and patience. And it was once you start getting it down, I was really enjoying it. So yeah, there's always that thing where I think there's just so many games out there. If I just go back and play them, I'm gonna enjoy most of them that I do touch. But yeah, um, to kind of elaborate and kind of sidebar with that, I've always grew up a big Sonic fan. So like, I love if I'm gonna go revisit and replay older games, Sonic is the one I usually tend to go to. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I love playing the old Sonic games just to kind of kill time and just take it easy. So
Really, Sonic.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wow, that's. Uh, I guess I would say Willow.
Willow.
Yes, I really enjoyed Willow as a
I
kid.
I feel like that's from. I want to say I played some of that like not that long ago, maybe in the last year or two. So my best friend's also a big retro gamer. And I think that was a game he either found or he just happened to get, and he was able. We ended up playing it one night, and yeah, Willow was interesting. I'll say that for sure. A little bit of a Zelda clone in a sense,
Yeah.
but it's an adventure game of its time. So
Oh, Val says, since you brought it up, what game would you speedrun?
what game would I speedrun now? I think the only game that I've played enough that I would feel comfortable speedrunning is Metal Gear Solid, the one on the PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid, yeah,
Choice.
yeah, Solid Snake.
Zorn says, are you looking forward to Sonic Frontiers?
So here's my thing. I'm more of a traditional 2D Sonic lover than a 3D Sonic lover. So like I don't mind the 3D Sonic games like Sonic Adventure and stuff like that, but I'm not like enamored to them like I am the old school games. So I'm not partial. I can just wait until Sonic Frontiers maybe goes on sale and check it out. So excited! Am I looking forward to it? Yes. And do I need to get it right now? No. I can wait and see what other people think of it and check it out and go at it at my own pace. So
What's your all
that's
time
yeah.
favorite Sonic game?
hmm
Your
My
favorite Sonic?
all time favorite Sonic. I'm I think I still love the first one. I love the soundtrack. Like the soundtrack, I still listen to the soundtrack at work almost every other day. I really enjoy it. It doesn't have like it's Sonic on his own. He's doing his own OG thing. Tails hasn't come and basically showed him he's incapable of doing anything without Tails yet at that point, and and all his buddies haven't showed up for the party. And it's just, it's classic Sonic. I just, it feels like a nice classic game. I just love it. So first
um,
one.
you ever played Mega Man?
What gave it away?
Oh, I didn't
Yes,
notice.
yeah, I'm wearing a Mega Man shirt, kind of like an old school varsity shirt that has Mega Man on it. Been running and gunning since like 1987, some shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
What's your
I
favorite
think I
Mega
bought.
Man?
My favorite Mega Man. Honestly, I haven't played enough of them to really declare a favorite. I've played like quite a few of them early titles. I played the newest one, with the different graphics and whatnot, and I do like how that one is. But I would say my favorite is probably still, I don't know, the first one. Again, the difficulty. Like I like how challenging it is.
There's a
It's not fair. It's not fair at all. But yeah, like I don't like. I like the second one too. The second one, a lot of people say people like. The third one's fun. Um, but I've also played the Wily Wars, the Sega counter, like the Sega release
yeah.
in Japan of Mega Man, which came on the Sega Mini One that released a couple years back, and I ended up playing through that version. And yeah, I just Mega Man's fun. I can't really say I played them enough to say I have a favorite. I want to play through the Mega Man X series. I've never played the X series. So I want to sit through and play those at some point down the road too. Who knows when that'll be, but I do.
So, what do you think of this man being outed from WWE?
I think it's good for all wrestling. Um, do I have anything personal about Vince McMahon? Do I want to say no? Vince McMahon did more for the wrestling business than anyone will ever care to admit. But do I miss him right now? No. I think he held on too long, and I'm glad that he's out now to maybe enjoy something other than work. And now that Triple H has taken over Stephanie and Nick Khan, um, I love everything they're doing now. Things feel more interesting, and to the sense of there that you don't want to miss out feeling. That's there again now. Um, but I could still feel the Triple H presence of how matches kind of ebb and flow on the show. Um, I don't know. Are you a big Triple H fan?
I am.
All right, so you enjoy his long 30-plus minute
I
matches
do.
of like come and go and.
Yeah, I do.
All right, well then, I mean, you're gonna enjoy what's to come. Like to me, I think sometimes his matches plod on a little too long. Just take about 5-10 minutes off, they would have been fine. But no, I'd like everything he's done. I guess what I hear, the back room, backstage, everything's just chill. He's more approachable than Vince was. Um, he's open to hearing everybody's suggestions. There's more camaraderie. There's more, or collaboration, I meant to say. Um, Camaraderie is there between more and more of the staff and the wrestlers. Um, that influx of like constantly dealing with writers and wrestlers and management doesn't seem to be quite the gap that it used to be now. It seems. It seems wrestlers have more input now. Management's willing to listen to more of that input, and the writers are willing to just be a little more easygoing with everything now. So I think that brings that gap back down, which brings for more creativity, and that we're seeing that on TV. And they're bringing all these people back. I just heard. I think I just saw a report that Mia Yim's coming back now, or possibly coming back soon. So yeah, they're bringing back all these people who got fired like last year or whatever. Everybody's happy, except everyone in AEW. But
um, that's making me realize what's a great but really underrated game in your opinion?
great but underrated game. I imagine we're talking video games here. Um, see, I sometimes I'm not one that explores too much random stuff and find treasure gems. But if I do have to admit to one, The Last Remnant.
Yes.
I played the crap out of that earlier this year, and everyone saw me playing that to death earlier this year. I had a lot of fun with it. It was beautiful. Definitely a far cry from the game I tried to play back in the 360 era. It was awful then.
It really was though.
It
It
was.
really
It was.
was.
Huh?
It really was bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So back to wrestling. If it's a man who's still in control, do you think W would have a chance of over succeeding as a top company?
Let's see. If Vince McMahon was still in control,
Yeah,
are you talking the company would be
yeah.
successful right now?
Compared to
Um,
AEW, would AEW
um,
be?
well, here's the thing. I hate to say this, but yes, but that's also because AEW's been doing everything wrong. um, any company can succeed over the other when one company shoots themselves in the foot 100 million times over. I mean, look at TNA Impact. So,
That is so
as
true.
as a glaring example, look at WCW, obviously in its heyday. Like, I mean, you shoot both your feet off with guns, and eventually you can't walk as a promotion anymore. You can't. You come to a crawl, and that's just AEW is just 1 foot away from doing that. I'm glad they're trying to put the whole CM Punk fiasco in the rearview mirror because that was embarrassing. If I'm Tony Khan right now, I would have probably said that's the most embarrassing event in my life because that was downright embarrassing. Um, so hopefully he can. I want AEW to succeed, and he needs to steer that ship to do that. But I also think he needs to trust the people in his locker room to kind of not let to be able to take it upon their own hands to kind of watch their own be a good herd community. That's why I kind of like the leadership they're doing there with Jericho, Danielson, Moxley, where they don't have people who have titles above their heads kind of trying to call the shots. They got leaders, locker room leaders who are not claiming they're leaders. They're just trying to watch out for everyone else. And then Tony Khan can at least try to just focus on maybe, not let the ship sink and then maybe do something with Ring of Honor that doesn't mean that Ring of Honor's on AEW half its airing time.
Oh God, I agree.
Like I love Ring of Honor. Don't get me wrong. I love Ring of Honor, but this we're watching a very shell of Ring of Honor right now. This is not terrible. This is not. I'm saying it's god awful. We need to move on. I love that they're promoting it, but I hate how they're also not promoting AEW at the same time.
Well,
Like
Jericho, there's no need for Jericho to be Ring of Honor champ. I don't
now,
understand this.
so here's the counterpoint. Giving Jericho the run with the Ring of Honor title, and honestly, Chris Jericho is going to be one of the best wrestlers ever. Do you
Yes,
disagree?
I love Jericho.
Exactly. So
Yes,
here's the
yes.
thing: you put that title on Jericho, which looks like a title from a failing company that just got bought out. Jericho's adding prestige to that title, in my opinion, and he's actually making it a key storyline. Which I get it. You're trying to keep the brand alive, but at some point you have to feel like that's also overstaying its welcome. Get that brand on its own brand
Yes.
at some point. But having Jericho with the title, not the worst thing.
But did it Jericho becoming champion? Did that kind of bury Cesaro?
Not now. See, that's the thing. Cesaro came in white hot, like red hot, kicking ass, taking names. They let him win the Ring of Honor title, his first world title ever, which is fine. He should have been able to win that Ring of Honor title when he was in Ring of Honor, and they never
Yeah.
gave it to him. I always thought Nigel McGuinness was going to drop it to Cesaro back when they feuded when Nigel was champ, and never happened. And I thought Cesaro was going to get it before he entered WWE from I forget who was the champ at the time. Maybe it was Austin Aries. I forget who.
I think
Maybe
so,
Tyler
yeah.
Black. Maybe Tyler Black. Somebody. But he never got it. Never got it. And then he left Ring of Honor and it never happened. But yeah, it was a good decision to put it on, but I never saw him holding on to the title for long. Because I figured, eventually someone was going to screw him out of the title and he was going to drop it. It was a feel good, title win. It did what it was meant to be done. So Jericho holding on to it right now, I don't hate it. I just wish that there was a brand to represent.
It needs its own slot. But you're just taking away from either side right now.
Right. Like, they promote the Ring of Honor title more than they promote the AEW World title, if
Yes.
that says anything. That's terrible.
Exactly, yes. They'll ask, what are your thoughts of Tony Khan? She feels like he's not as approachable by the wrestlers as Vince was.
Well, the thing is, Vince. So I was actually mentioning Triple H was more approachable than Vince. So there could be the confusion there. Tony Khan is just as approachable as Triple H is. Here's the thing, though, where Triple H, he basically has everyone by the balls. He knows he runs the show, right? Tony Khan has the problem of letting people walk over him. Yeah, he's willing to listen to everybody and he's approachable, but the problem is he may make too many promises that he can't keep.
Yes.
And you've seen that. You have seen that with CM Punk. You have seen that with the Elite. You have seen that with all the other people he's brought in and all the other people that bitch on Twitter, on whatever feed, Twitch, whatever feed that they use to do their social medias about Tony Khan or about the company. He can't keep things straight. He can't deliver on his promises, and that's the failing point, and that's why sometimes people bitch about him and can't trust him. But he is approachable. Everybody says they make fun of him on the show. He's a mark. He is a super strong wrestling fan. He is passionate about the business. You can't have any better than someone backing a company than someone who's passionate. But with that passion, you need to be level-headed. You need to trust the right people, and you need to be able to delegate. And that's a lot of his problem too. He doesn't delegate well. He's starting to do that better with Jericho and Danielson and them, kind of trying to let the locker room, let the boys be boys. You focus on the company, let the boys be boys.
Yes.
So
CM Punk is returning to wrestling. As a wrestling fan,
he's done.
Was it a disappointment?
He's done. He's not returning.
Or was his return a disappointment?
Okay. So for the fans, no. Because everybody got to see the CM Punk of old, and they got what they wanted, at least to some degree.
See, I don't agree. In his matches, he just seems so off. Like he was missing something.
I don't know. It depended. On his mat, it depended who he worked with. With MJF, he worked great. He had
Yes.
he had great matches with MJF and looked good. And he also played the part of old veteran. You know, I think
Yes.
people want him to come in and be able to do 10 million somersaults and, you know, spry the top ropes like he was 20 or some shit. No, he's old, but he has to try to preserve his body. He can't go in there and destroy themselves like every other AEW athlete out there right now,
Right.
as you can see with all the injuries. He was trying to preserve his body to some degree, and he was playing it up also on all his matches, looking like the tired veteran, looking like the guy who was trying to go until the wheels fell off. He was playing his character well. And I know some people just didn't buy him in as, the pro wrestler being there because of his time in the UFC. In my mind, that really did hurt his image. Like, it killed his image to some people. But as a pro wrestling fan and what I like out of what I like the storytelling and what I expect out of people when they go in that ring and perform, CM Punk did what he was supposed to do. He tried to elevate guys. He tried to help people out in backstage who wanted help and asked for help. And then out in the ring, he played the role of aged veteran very well. There was some times where there was some mistimings. We can bring up the Bobby Fish match where um, things didn't work out in the end, and Bobby Fish kind of screwed him a little bit there and went into business for himself. But and there was disagreements with some of the young guys like Hangman M Page, but to be fair, Page kind of started that, but CM Punk kind of took that the next step, unfortunately. But Punk's always had a hot head, and unfortunately for AEW, it ended up being bad business. It's a shame really that it's come down to this, because Tony Khan really did treat him like he was the next Hulk Hogan for that brand.
Yeah, he was royalty.
Yeah, he literally was. Like, that was the golden goose when he has admitted when he started AEW with the All Elite, with all those other indie wrestlers, they started that company. All those people on the roster from the start was not his golden goose. CM Punk was. He had CM Punk on his sights when he started the very first pay-per-view All Out.
Yeah.
Because they tried to get Punk at that pay-per-view.
Yes.
That was his man from the start.
Of course.
Yeah. And then he finally, Punk admitted that the timing had to be right. It had to be the perfect scenario, the perfect time. And they waited it out and let the company grow, and they waited it out, and then Punk finally came back. And Punk got in the ring shape at least and was able to, he wanted to make the man money. He wanted that company to grow. But, also Punk, he's the guy that marches to the beat of his own drum. So, you got to play Punk's way sometimes, or, the way might be treacherous. And we saw that.
Do you think, uh, do you think, MJF is the next CM Punk?
I guess, what are you, like, as in the cash cow? Are you trying to say he's the next biggest, like, star that
Both.
Tony Khan's going to ride, or
Both.
hope? If they knew what they were doing, yes. But I still got this weird feeling MJF's gonna leave the second his contract runs out and go to WWE, because he's definitely gonna make way more money there no matter what.
Do you think AEW will put the strap on MJF?
They'll put the strap on him. So, ironically enough, in the business nowadays that we have in pro wrestling, the heel carrying the title does more for the entertainment value of the business than the face carrying the strap. Now, back in the days of house shows, back when the 70s, 80s, into the 90s, when house shows were prevalent, yeah, you wanted a baby face carrying the strap because people came to see the baby face.
Yes.
All the kids wanted their shit signed and stuff like that. People wanted to see the baby face, and they rotated the heels out. Now there's not many house shows like that anymore. I mean, there's some, but they don't make the money like they do anymore. And all the entertainment value and all the draw is now on building baby faces, persevering and trying to win titles and chasing titles, as opposed to them holding the title and just visiting town to town to be draws. So yeah, I think MJF will have that title. He'll have it for a while. I think he'll have it. I think what they'll definitely do is they'll make him hold on to it when his contract runs out.
I would.
Yeah, you put it on him.
Yeah.
That way, you make him somehow feel like we don't want you to leave. You're the champion. But the fear, but you have to make sure he's at least a little. You have to get more sincerity from him, because you don't want to do that and then have him walk in the WWE with AEW's title and being like, "Hey guys, you thought I couldn't fall to any more depths." Yeah, and trash can the fucking AEW title. Yeah. You don't want that.
Do you think he will have as much success, presence, if he goes to WWE?
Repeat that one more time. Sorry, man.
No, that's fine. If he does go into Triple H's version of the company, do you think he will have as much of a presence and as much of a success?
I think he will. I mean, Cody Rhodes is the blueprint, right? He did originally come from WWE. I get it, but Triple H is not an idiot. He's learned a lot from Vince McMahon. If a guy's a star and he's built his own brand and he can bring value to the company and he shows he can be the man, yeah, I definitely can. We've seen that example with AJ Styles. We've seen that example with Drew McIntyre. Brock Lesnar. People going out, establishing themselves outside WWE. No matter how or where they came from, they come into WWE and they're stars. Ric Flair, even to some degree.
Yes. Speaking of Ric Flair, do you think Charlotte will be the one to break her daddy's record?
Oh yeah, easily. Me and Archer joke about this all the time. My buddy Archer, he adamantly claims that she will be the one to break the record before anyone, and I agree. At this point, yeah, she does.
Do you think she should?
Do I think she should?
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's a hard question. That's a very loaded question. Like, should anybody win the title that many times to some point of relevancy and still be relevant? I don't know. But
I'll give you that.
But it's hard to answer that. Like, so let's bring up another thing of relevance to that point, the streak, the Undertaker streak.
Correct.
It's been said on the Bruce Pritchard podcast, the podcast he does, that they didn't even realize he had a streak at one point until someone brought it up, and he was like 10-0 at one point in WrestleMania. They didn't even realize he was.
That's true.
And they decided to move along with it. So I think it's just one of those things that if it eventually gets to that point, they might make something of it, like she's close or something like that. But they've already teased that with John Cena how many times? And John Cena's not no 17-time champ. Randy Orton is a couple away if he ever heals up and comes back. We don't know. Yeah, and Triple H was a few away as well. It's just, I think it will be relevant when she's close enough. How many is she at now that they recognize?
12, I think.
Yeah, because they don't recognize her NXT title win. So, or both of them, I should say.
Right.
Right.
What is your opinion on the whole mess with Naomi and Sasha?
Oh man, I went back and forth on this with some people. I respect people feel the need to justify, you know, the problems and issues with booking if they feel they see a trend or an issue, or, and try to like take it upon themselves to make a statement or do something that needs to be done, make some changes, make it happen. But my problem was I feel they went about it the wrong way. Um Honestly, when heard about the future plans, or what could have been had they stuck around, would have not hurt their character in the least. And they're trying to like they were all about trying to promote like a mid card women's division. Okay, I get that you want to make a mid card women's division, but you got to make sure those women's titles are fully established before we care about mid card.
Yes.
And each of them would have probably went after one of the other titles at the point that they left and took a hiatus, with the way the booking was. And they would have put over the champions, and that's good. And then they could have went back and built their mid-card division by holding those titles forever, whatever. But I thought they were a little selfish because they wanted changes now. And to me, you can't always look at the immediate picture and be like, well, this sucks. It's like, no, sometimes booking is done in the long view. You need to be able to establish something before, and a foundation before you can build from that foundation. And they just felt the need to, I think, try to be part of that foundation instead of like building from it. Um, so that's it. To me, I thought it was a little selfish on their part to leave. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I wasn't. I was also not a big fan of Vince McMahon and WWE slandering the crap out of him week after week after week.
Yes.
Basically saying they abandoned the company, this and that. They sound no better than AEW half the time when they were doing that. And AEW was doing some hardcore WWE trashing. So I was just kind of like, I kind of felt bad they got trashed, but I also thought they could have done better business, because that's not how you handle your business. But
Is it correct?
It's. I think it's a push either way. Honestly, it's just a push.
Yeah. They're at, if you could pick one, male or female, wrestler to break Flair's title record, who would you choose?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton?
Randy Orton. I wish he could. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I think Randy Orton deserves it. He's been dedicated to the company. He's put on. He's always been around, but he's always he's obviously shown he's been a leader of that locker room. In later years, he's a family man. He's a company man, and hopefully maybe he gets another run or two in him. But I don't know. Like, it just, outside of that, like, someone would need to start winning and dropping titles otherwise to even come close to like Charlotte, or whoever else. Maybe Sasha could win and drop it a few more times. Who knows? I don't know. But no, I think Randy Orton's deserving of the honor.
How do you think we'll see more, um, what's the word? Guys like Ricochet or, high flyers and more technical wrestlers with a smarter frame become champion
I
instead of
guess
to
we'll
be,
see.
instead of
So I think,
Roman sized, you know?
well, Vince is if Vince was to continue what he was doing, then yes, we would see more Roman-sized, more bigger athletes.
Yes.
Because that's what they were starting to, as you saw, they were firing a bunch of the smaller guys. They were getting rid of him, or they were having him job out to the bigger guys. Like Vince is a body guy. He always has it. He always is. Triple H likes bodies, but he's also a wrestling. He's a wrestler's wrestler. He's a technical guy. He likes people who put on a good story. And in his mind, tell the story. We'll figure the rest out later. That's kind of Triple H's MO. So he's not about, immediately he's pairing Omos with Braun Strowman, right? So he's trying to at least get the best out of everybody with the roster he has. Us watching Omos smash like local talent every other week on Raw is not entertaining.
No.
So yeah, you gotta push, like, get the big guy out there already. You got Strowman now. Make something entertaining out of it too, because that match is never gonna happen otherwise.
It's gonna be that whole match is gonna be a train wreck.
Oh, trust me, it's gonna be the most delightful train wreck you've ever watched in your life. But that's the thing, like, he always plays the people's strengths. Like, Bobby Lashley's been fighting a lot of smaller wrestlers lately, and guess what? It's been entertaining. Yeah. Bobby makes the smaller wrestlers look like they can have a shot. He does well in the ring with them. Like, and that's, just influence of Triple H. That's influence of being able to, make, everyone look, emphasizing the strengths of everyone that's in that ring. And that's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Road Dogg, and the rest that work with Triple H. They're very good at that. Pritchard, all of them. They know what they're doing. Obviously, they've been doing a lot better writing, a lot better interaction, dialogue. And there's been more variety of stuff too. Just, like we saw the Trick or Treat street fight the other day. We got to see the Alpha Academy come out doing the Chris Farley skit from Saturday Night Live. With Patrick Swayze. They were reenacting that, Otis and Chad Gable. That was fucking hilarious, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's the thing. Like, we're starting to see more and more creativity and more interesting things with Triple H at the helm and the wrestlers getting more input. So I'm super excited. And I just think things in WWE are going to be fine. Oh, and they're doing away with the stupid gimmicky pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell. No more Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Fuck that shit.
I'm happy about that.
I'm so tired of that shit.
I agree.
Yeah, so we're seeing good stuff.
There Orton shot himself in the foot and slowing his title run chances for his rebellious behaviors in his career.
So, yeah, he was young, okay? Yeah. He was very young. And they knew he was a guy who made some questionable choices. They brought him in anyways. But let's not spade's a spade, all right? We're not gonna like dismiss the fact that he got some favors, okay, within the company. We're not gonna dismiss that. He got more second chances than most people did in that company. Poor Mr. Kennedy. But but at least he eventually came around, and he eventually, like, ended up being the company man Vince always wanted him to be, a stable asset, and, someone who, at worst, or if things go south, they can rely on.
Yeah.
So that's what he brought, the backbone. That's what Orton, basically, he's groomed himself to be the next Undertaker once Undertaker retired. Taker always thought kind of him after they had their thing, like, yeah, so it's just a shame right now he's dealing with a possible career-ending injury.
Yeah.
But we got Roman, so we're good. All hail Roman. May he never drop any of the titles.
Give him the women's title.
Yeah, like, seriously, make the women acknowledge him too.
Do you think there's even a shot that Logan Paul beats Roman Reigns?
All right. So here's my deal. No,
Yeah.
but the little Jimmy in me is hoping that they do actually let Logan Paul beat him and get one of the titles. But I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. What's gonna happen is that Bobby's gonna beat Lesnar at Crown Jewel, hopefully, and then they push Bobby onto Lesnar, or not Bobby onto Reigns. Sorry about that. Yeah, it'll be Bobby and Reigns next. Someone else to feed to Reigns.
You think Bobby is gonna beat Brock?
He beat Brock through Brock beat the shit out of him in that match, and then Brock got beat up by whoever he was gonna like. I think Roman Reigns interfered in that match, actually. Yeah. And then Lashley ended up pinning him after Roman Reigns interfered. So
I don't know.
that was how that title match went. Lashley was getting dominated to all shit, and then Reigns interfered and beat up Lesnar, and then Lashley pinned.
Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at that time, Lashley was healed.
All right.
So that's why it worked like that. But yeah, that's what happened. And Lesnar fucked up his shoulder with all the Germans, and Lashley not knowing how to take a German suplex. Have you seen? I mean, have you watched how Lashley takes a German suplex? He lands on his shoulder.
On his shoulder.
And and one of those shoulders he screwed up and had to, get fixed. Yeah. So it's like, but hopefully it's a legit match that'll be fun and entertaining.
I don't think he'll win. I think Brock will win because in Saudi. But I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows if we still will have a pay-per-view? I mean, WWE still wants to go, but God, the U.S. embassy's trying to tell WWE don't go.
I know, it's crazy.
There's a lot of spectating over there. What's going to happen? Or yeah, we live in a crazy world now. You go to buy a carton of eggs and it's like $4 now, and it's just the world's gone crazy now. So.
Do you think Roman's gonna fight The Rock at WrestleMania?
I mean, we all think that might happen. Here's my thing: The Rock's gonna find something else to do, and they're not gonna have The Rock available.
Yes.
I never hope upon The Rock for anything because The Rock's a very busy man. He keeps saying, he might come back and do another thing, especially with Roman being the champ. It just seems obvious to do it. But just because it's obvious doesn't mean they're going to do it. And doesn't mean The Rock's going to go out of his way, clear a schedule, and take a lesser payday for something if he's shooting a movie or if he's doing something else that, he's promoting. So.
So who do you think was Roman?
Cody Rhodes.
Really?
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Yes.
I think
Cody
it's
Rhodes.
Too obvious to do Bray Wyatt. It can't be Bray Wyatt. It can't.
I don't want Bray Wyatt ever win the title. Ever. Bray Wyatt's an attraction. The Undertaker was an attraction. Andre the Giant was an attraction. They don't win titles. And it's weird when they do. He better not win that title.
I agree with you on that. I always said that The Undertaker never needed a championship.
Never needed it. Andre the Giant never needed the championship.
No, he did.
Yeah.
They're bigger than that.
Yeah.
And that's what Bray Wyatt is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm hoping whatever storyline he's doing here, it's he's doing a whole different thing now, a different look, a different take than anyone expected. No one expected this take. And it's maybe it'll pay off. It'll be very interesting. Maybe it'll be a whole new thing that we'll see. Who knows? I have no idea where this is gonna go. but it's all in the brain of the man child of Bray Wyatt. So we don't know. We don't know.
Do you think uh um Austin Theory is gonna successfully cash the Money in the Bank?
Um, honest, honestly, I make fun of this whole thing the entire time. I tried to tell Archer. I even told my buddy Archer this. I've told other people this. You know, they're kind of going with the plan that he holds it all year long, or there's rumors that they might have him hold it all year, the whole length of the 1 year that he's allowed to hold it before he cashes it in. I wish, and this is my booking, I would continue to go with that plan, except when he tries to go to cash it in, he fails to cash it in like all the other times he's tried to fail. And then the 1 year goes up and they take it from him. And he
Oh,
never cashed it in.
that'd be nice.
That would be freaking hysterical. And then he would end up altering his gimmick a little bit and with a chip on his shoulder because he never cashed in the Money in the Bank. He'll go out and prove he didn't need the Money in the Bank to get his title. He goes out and proves he can do it without it. Even maybe turn him face with it. You never know. Because he gets made fun of or he gets picked on by all the other wrestlers, this and that. Maybe he goes under the learning tree of Giant Gargano again, maybe picking him up again. You never know. They could go so many different ways with this. But I'm if he was to cash it in, probably at WrestleMania. I don't know who against or what against, but we'll see. We'll see.
Um,
I have no idea at this point. It's crazy.
Val asks, do you think the Wyatt sit is going to be a stable, or like the game Killer 7, where each one is a wrestler playing one of his personalities, but it's still one person?
That could be something they do. They have someone playing one of his multiple facets in real life form, and it all comes together. I think the Wyatt Six thing could be more of a rumor than anything, and they may not go in that direction. But I have no idea really. The Bray Wyatt thing is definitely full of rumors, and you have no idea what they're gonna do with it. So I can't really speak to that much, honestly. But it's an interesting concept. I don't know if it'll get over as well as it sounds on paper.
I don't like it. It gives you that let's watch kind of feeling, you
Yeah,
know.
but the problem is you start having other people dressed as his personas. They're gonna be like, especially if they bring people who are familiar back and they notice someone's tattoo or someone's like something on somebody that's like it depends what they do with it. They gotta be careful.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think um I think it will be stable, and I don't think that other people that think is gonna be in it is actually in it. For sure, Uncle Howdy or whatever
Hmm.
is Bo Dallas without question. I think Braun will be a personality.
I hear Chris Axel's looking for a job.
Yeah, I think
Bring him in.
Curtis, and I think Liv Morgan probably is going to be facing against Alexa Bliss. Which, for the
Yeah.
love of God,
Were,
give
were you a big
Alexa
fan of the Liv Morgan run there?
no.
Why?
I
You're not a fan of Liv Morgan?
like Liv, but she's no champion. She's not
Yeah,
ready yet.
no, it's just no one took her seriously as a champion. Everyone wanted her to win the title until she won the title, and then everyone's like, "Oh no, it doesn't look good. Take it off. Take it off."
I agree. Do you
uh,
think, or do you think they take the title from Ronda?
Charlotte Flair.
You think it'll be Charlotte?
I think she'll come back. Well, she's gonna. They said there's rumors that she's coming back soon, so I wouldn't be surprised if she came back either one to take the title off Ronda, and get another title run, or she takes it off Bianca because Bianca needs a heel to take it off her. But I would assume that Bailey would do that, so it's probably going to be Ronda.
I heard that Ronda's gonna keep it till WrestleMania, and then Becky will return and take it.
See, that's the thing. They could have both Charlotte and Becky return and be like, do a program where they have to work together to beat Ronda or something like that. But they hate each other as well, so it could be like, and it would be an awesome way to re-highlight and rematch the women's title WrestleMania main event from a couple years ago.
That's true.
This would be an opportunity for that.
I agree with that. I think Bianca needs to drop the belt to Bailey, and hopefully she does that tomorrow. But I forgot what I was gonna say. But no, I want to see Ronda drop it to Shayna Baszler. I love Shayna.
I don't know. Like, here's the thing: Shayna Baszler came in, she did her tough act in NXT. I thought it was all right. The problem is her gimmick has like not evolved at all since she's left NXT. And I honestly, every time I see Shayna Baszler, I take a restroom break. I don't give a shit. She does nothing for me. She really does nothing for me. I actually rooted for Liv to beat Shayna. That's how bad it was.
That's cold, bro.
It's cold.
That's cold.
But I did not want to see a Shayna Baszler title run doing the same shtick she did in the last several years. Like, I just now if you told me if she was gonna win it and do something completely and go on completely different character like change and do some other stuff, I would have probably been on board. But I didn't see it. So,
what do you think about the return of Emma?
I heard she needed a job.
Yeah.
To me, Emma, I mean, she's just another pretty face on the roster. Obviously, she didn't prove her worth before, which is why they let her go. And I don't think she's done enough in the indies to make me go, man, she needs to be a champion or she needs to be a prominent feature.
I didn't see much of a, an improvement. Change.
It just, I don't know. Like, they barely promoted her when she made it to the main roster like years ago, and then she got let go. Honestly, I was surprised if anyone even remembered when she showed up.
I mean, it's true.
Unless you're an actual wrestling fan, of course.
Yes. Well, what do you think about Ava Raine?
Ava Raine. Now that is I like what they're doing. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not 100% on board with Schism. Like,
I don't like the tag team guys.
Oh, the Dyad? Yeah, because I like them as the grizzled young fucking veterans. That's why.
That's
why I love that team. I love Zach Gibson as they were. I love Zach Gibson as a solo, but seeing them in that, it's offsetting, it's off-putting, and I get it. That's what they're going for. Like, I get it. so maybe the effect that they're going for is working, because it does give me that eerie, annoying feeling,
Yes.
and that's what they're drawing. Now you got Ava's part of that, which means she's. I mean, I think it was probably the best thing they could have done, and they put her in a faction that wants to shun, opinionism and being able to give her a platform to create her true own identity, which
Yes.
I think it was probably like delivered on a silver platter, honestly. Um, I still hate the fact that Gacy's getting compared to Wyatt.
Yeah.
I think he's getting to the point where he's no longer he's a devil's advocate. He's not a cult leader,
Right.
in my opinion. Yeah, it looks cultish, but he's more of a devil's advocate. He's always going to people and trying to, sway their decisions.
I agree.
Um, yeah, and he's doing the gimmick that Sean O'Hare wanted to do like years ago when he was entering WWE.
Yes.
Remember those
I
vignettes of
remember
him in
that.
the white room and he's sitting there all
Yeah.
dressed up and telling you things that
Yes.
you probably shouldn't hear, but he's gonna let you know
Yes.
anyways.
I enjoyed that gimmick.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's yeah.
yes.
And it never happened. Never happened. They threw away the gimmick when he introduced.
Val X. How do you like Gacy? I mean, we just.
I think it's different. And in my mind, when you can offer something different to a 2-3 hour programming platform of entertainment, that's positive. I mean, it's not good if it sucks, obviously, but it's done nothing. It's hasn't sucked at all, and if anything, it brings out something different depending on who they feed into the workings of their dynamic, whether it's Cameron Grimes or Braun Breaker or whatever they're doing. It's they're you're gonna hopefully see something different, and they take elevate a step for every interaction they have with members of the roster and how they work with them. So I'm fine with Gacy. I think Gacy's. I don't want to be in a safe space at all. Fuck no, but. But no, I'm not disappointed at all with what he's contributed to the brand.
Do you think Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano had shot at ever becoming world champion?
Yeah. You want to know what I think will happen down the road? And
Sure.
I shit you not, this just popped into my head. But I honestly see a WrestleMania moment down the road, could be a year or two, like 2 years away or some shit, where Roman's no longer a champion. They have belts separated again. And it's gonna be kind of like the Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero moment at the end of WrestleMania 20. Instead, it's gonna be Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano winning their
Yes.
respective titles on their brands to try to kind of overcloud that moment. Because yeah, usually if
Yes.
Chris Benoit gets mentioned in any feel good moment, that's usually the one they mention.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I could see that kind of and just that be a thing.
I would go with that. I'm a huge fan of both. So, they're
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I love both. I mean, I personally have spent time with Johnny Gargano, so like when he was younger. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. So there was once upon a time that I wanted to get into the wrestling business, and this was also while I was in college. And I did a little bit of it, not enough to where I established myself, but enough to where I spent some time like bumping in the ring and tearing down and putting the ring together. Learning some tricks of the trade and stuff like that. Also, I went to like shows and hung out with Johnny himself when he was younger. And he also would have been my trainer had I pursued further into the rabbit hole. Um, but he did train one of my good friends at college and some other friends that I met at the time. And yeah, they even asked me when he won the NXT World Title. They were asking me if I had certain video footage of back in our old days, and which I unfortunately I did not have. I lost through some hard drive failure years ago. Um, but yeah, we had some good times going to like Ring of Honor shows and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So funny story. I'm trying to watch Ring of Honor show headlined Brian Danielson. Yeah, Brian Danielson is the world champ against AJ Styles in Cleveland as the main event. I'm trying to watch this, and I got fucking Johnny's like bouncing left and right. It's standing room, unfortunately. He's like bouncing left and right. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, dude, I gotta piss so bad. I'm like, then piss. He's like, dude, I'm this is endurance training. I'm like, what fucking endurance training? You're gonna piss your pants and I'm gonna laugh. Fucking go pee. Yeah, he was holding this piss in for the longest time. I don't know, several hours. It was awful. He looked like he was in pain. I don't know why he was so insistent on it, but I mean, I'm sure he has reasons. But yeah, he was much younger. We were much younger at the time. I mean, he was like 19 at the time. I was like 21. So,
Who was your wrestling idol when you were growing up?
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart.
Hands down, Bret Hart. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I thought Bret Hart was awesome, but I loved like a lot of them. I loved the Macho Man. I loved Ted DiBiase. I loved the model Rick Martel. I loved Jake the Snake Roberts. I loved a lot of them. I didn't mind Hogan. I wasn't the biggest fan of Hogan.
I wasn't a Hogan fan.
I didn't mind Hogan. I got it. I understood it. But being that young, also, I didn't understand like sometimes the American symbol, like why he was so big for America and this and that. Also, like I was, at the time I didn't mind the Ultimate Warrior, but then again, you're like wee little and you don't understand wrestling. You're just there to, yay, yeah. So, but yeah, I love that era of wrestling. It was great. So
mine was The Undertaker and Roddy Piper and Sting.
Oh, I could have mentioned those too. Well, I was definitely afraid of The Undertaker when I was that young. Seriously, the very first time I watched The Undertaker was the '89 Survivor Series when he introduced, and I was like, I literally put a pillow to my face. I was scared to shit of this guy. I'm like 4. I'm 4 or 5 at this point, and I love wrestling, and I got wrestling everything: curtains, bed sheets, figurines, video game, you name it. It's wrestling everywhere. Yeah, they introduced The Undertaker, and I'm just like, yeah. I had a poster of him. He had double-sided poster with the Macho Man. Macho Man never faced the wall. Undertaker always did because he scared the shit out of me.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. Hardcore wrestling fan growing up, and of course wanted to get into the pro wrestling business. I do have my reasons. That I could share off cam, but yeah, that I didn't pursue it. But yeah, it's definitely enjoy the wrestling business. That's for sure.
Who do you think coming off of NXT it can be considered the future of the business?
Braun Breaker for sure.
You think?
The guy's got it. He's got it. He's getting better. Ilya Dragunov, honestly, he looks real good, especially if the smaller guy is supposed to or is going to get bigger in the business. Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragon, his gimmick.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, I don't. I don't know.
I think he's evolving as a character, and what's great about him? He's a convincing babyface.
Yes,
that's what's great about him. You don't have that most of the time anymore because everyone thinks the babyface routine is not believable. You
Yes.
listen to this guy, and he sounds like a coach on a basketball or any sports team. This guy makes you believe, and you want to watch what he does, and that's all the traits of a good baby face. And it's real hard to have that. So, and I think his character can evolve over time as he goes. Like his music's evolved. He really gets into the singing now, or not the singing, but just the way his
Yes.
music goes. But the thing is, no one was watching NXT UK other than maybe like two people. So he could do
Me.
everything in NXT at UK and do it for NXT for a while, and it'll be
Yes.
fine. But he can evolve.
What about Gunter?
Gunther is going to be great. He's going to be a villainous heel. I love Imperium. I always have. Um, he's awesome. I think we're going to see some good things from him down the road. Probably. I would say when Rome, like we're already seeing good things with him being the Intercontinental Champion. It'll just be more of that, and maybe more another evolution down the road as a world champ. Once Roman Reigns is done carrying two titles,
Yeah. Um, you think, how long you think before they bring Braun Breaker onto the main roster?
honestly, when Roman's done,
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree.
which is also why they've delayed. And I've heard things that they've delayed the Kevin Owens interactions with the Bloodline, because Sami Zayn's killing it with the Bloodline,
He
and
is.
Sami Zayn's fucking awesome. I knew this guy had talent. I knew he was awesome, but this guy impresses me more and more with everything he's given.
Sammy's
Um,
he's on fire right now.
I know. So they've really cooled on Kevin Owens doing anything with them and kind of let Sammy kind of do his thing. Because I know they want to pair Sammy and Kevin
Yes.
down the road again. But I think with Braun Breaker, being such an alpha male on
See,
NXT, and like the guy looks like a fucking star, and he's
yes,
got the pedigree. So you want to not you're gonna have all these guys with that sort of caliber. You don't want to over flood the roster with that. Like you already got Roman Reigns that kind of has that with the bloodline, so you need
yes.
one group of a pedigree to step down before the next group of a pedigree to step up. Um, so I think once Roman Reigns steps down, it'll be like Braun Breaker and Cody Rhodes stepping up, to kind of fill that void. You know, guys with like, the generational, families
Yeah.
taking the next step to, but we'll see what happens. It's hard to say. I mean, Breaker still needs to work on some things. Still, in my opinion, he's doing good, but there's some more work that could be done. Um, I think he should hold the NXT title for much longer and keep going with it, and keep feeding them different people, different styles, different personalities. See what happens. Um, but I see
Uh,
good things for him.
Verax, do you think we'll ever see Roman versus The Rock?
Oh, it's wishful thinking. Like I said earlier, it's wishful thinking. Seriously, if it doesn't happen this year, it's not gonna happen.
Right. I agree with that. All right. One final question.
One final question.
One
You get
final
one
question.
question, sir. One more.
Do you think Roman Reigns' run right now is justifiable for his work in the
Yes.
business?
Yes.
Does he deserve it?
I think given the crap he's had to deal with over the years with when it comes from like, helping put Seth, he's helped put talent over like Dean. He's helped put Seth over. He's helped made people look like stars. He really has, as they say, well, what's the saying? Paid his dues. Um, through the shoddy booking, of pushing him too fast and the shucker and succotash that he's had to say and other really weird dialogue he's had to, been given from the writers to what he's doing, what he's doing now. And it's nice to see something common, something familiar, and something everybody can embrace when they come to the show. So here's the problem with pro wrestling nowadays, with people so disconnected and not following it as much. When you want to come to a show, everybody mentions, remember back when Stone Cold was doing this?
Yeah.
Remember back when The Undertaker was this and that? Oh, man, Hulk Hogan. Oh, remember when, Kevin Nash, blah, 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 or, DDP. They always speak of the Attitude Era. They speak of this, speak of that, because so many disconnected away, especially after, like, Eddie died and Edge retired. That was the final straw to some of these people, and a lot of these people tuned out. For people who are doing that nowadays, tuning out and then coming back a few years later, to see Roman Reigns, if they keep watching and just see that Roman Reigns is just always champ and being, everyone's just embracing it and holding that stability, I think that's done more for WWE programming than anything that they could have ever hoped to accomplish, because the people are going to come back and they know who to acknowledge.
It's true. It's true.
It's kind of the familiarism back in the day when Hogan was champ for all those years. Someone could blank out for a year or two, come back, they know Hogan's on top. They know who to cheer for. They know who to boo. The heel might be different, but yeah, Hogan's on top. When you constantly change the stability of, the platform of your company, people come in, they're gonna be confused. They don't know who to really back. They don't really feel invested. They don't really care. But when you have a marquee name, which they have built Roman Reigns to be, I'm gonna always agree with Vince McMahon when it comes to this. You make superstars. Superstar sells tickets, not pro wrestlers.
It's true.
Yes, we do pro wrestling, but superstar sells tickets.
It's true.
And to have that stability of a superstar to always be on top, best thing they could have ever done in years.
I agree.
So there you go.
Well, Mr. Christian, thank you for doing this, bro.
No problem.
I
No problem.
appreciate it. It was fun. It was fun.
Oh yeah, I got more fun ahead. I got some board gaming to do. Triple L and Mannequin Hand, and my buddy Germ's gonna join, and there might be some more. They're all waiting to get their asses handed to them by yours truly.
Are you right now?
No, we're not. I'm not live now. I was gonna go live after we were done.
Yes.
So.
You're going right after?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll raid you.
I like that.
Okay.
All right, man.
Well, thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me on here.
See you later, man.
Much love to you and Vale. I love you guys. So.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Bye.